All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to the English coverage of the Dota 2 Professional League group stages. This is game number 2 of a best of 2 between TRG and Wings. Wings took a very successful game 1 off the back of a Drow strat, and now game 2, we're looking to change it up here. The bans, they are quirky. The first picks, they are interesting. Sindar, I know how you feel about first pick Life Stealers. Why don't you tell us about it? Sindar?
10 seconds remaining.
Sorry, I was muted. Guys, first pick life dealer sucks. Don't pick it.
Seconds remaining.
I'm
All
done.
right, just come right out and tell us how you really feel now.
No, honestly, it's not always
Radiant
bad,
team ban.
but you've got to have a plan to play around it. And wings, you're giving your opponent so much time to ban against you. Lifestealer, not a hero that is invulnerable to counter picks. And I mean, we see a Bane Weaver first two from wings.
10
Lifestealer, he
seconds
goes for
remaining.
the slow onto Weaver, he just Sakuchi's away. You
5
rage,
seconds
Bane has
remaining.
Fiend's Grip. So already some great solutions to Lifestealer, and we're only at the first two picks.
Reserve time.
All right. Yeah, I mean, there's so much more that could come out here. Now, Wings, they were given the opportunity to go for a Drow strat. Io still in the pool. Drow still in the pool. They have picked up two range heroes. Are Wings thinking of going for this again and just cheesing it up?
Radiant team
I don't
ban.
know. I mean, with the Lifestealer, or rather, I was looking at the wrong draft for a second. It's possible, but you certainly don't need to go for it. And maybe they feel this game is in the bag. They want to have some fun, play some different heroes,
10
experiment a little
seconds
bit. Why
remaining.
not? Though I would be honestly a little disappointed to see the Drow again. Sure, they can run it
5
well, but
seconds remaining.
Lifestealer and Puck actually pretty good against Drow lineups. You've got the Infest Bomb combo. It's really great for getting on top of that hero, bringing her down almost instantly. So I don't expect to see it here, honestly. But the silence is nice against Weaver. Whether it's long enough, though, is a whole other question. And sure, you can drop the Dream Coil, but if Weaver has got that Sakuchi, you can't attack him if you
10
can't see him.
seconds remaining.
Exactly. So Vision's gonna have to be super on point for TRG. Now they picked up the Puck, they picked up the Life Stealer. That's most likely a mid and a position one. What support duo do you think could be really effective against Wing so far?
It's tough. You need a lot of lockdown. Weaver is probably going to go for that first pick Lincoln Sphere, so a Lion might be really, really nice, just because at least you can pop with the Hex and then follow up with the stun.
10 seconds remaining.
But the problem is Weaver is great at catching those backline
5
heroes and chunking them
seconds
down,
remaining.
and Lion doesn't have a whole lot of mobility to deal with that. Maybe an Earth Spirit might be a nice choice, but it's banned.
Reserve time.
Disruptor's a nice choice, it's also banned.
Okay, so
Track's a nice choice, but that's also banned. So, I mean, it's tough.
I'm getting a little bit triggered here looking at Wings. They pick up yet another ranged hero. Now Oracle picked up. I do like this pick. It's a direct counter to the Bat Rider. You can go ahead, you can purge off that lasso. So there is going to be some survivability from TRG. The problem is Wings have so much individual lockdown. You've got the Nightmare, the Fiend's Grip, you've got Weaver wailing away at one person, you've got the lasso from the Bat Rider, and we still have two picks. So even if Oracle lands the perfect ulti, the perfect purge, the perfect purifying flames, there's just too many targets. Wings are going to jump on more than one hero.
Reserve time.
And Weaver wrecks Oracle. Weaver can jump on top of him. The Fortune's End can be okay for a little bit, but as the game goes later, once Weaver picks up that Desolator, Oracle is going to be forced to use the False Promise on himself almost every single team fight, I feel. And, I mean, then the hero doesn't really do much other than that, so
If this is Avenge, it's a Drow strat 100%.
we'll see. I mean, it might be nice. Not that TRG are going to pick it. They've already got the Oracle, so they've already got their bat counter. They won't go for it. And it's a lone druid. Okay, so different kind of push.
Dire team pick.
It's interesting, though, that they picked the lone druid into the Lifestealer. Lifestealer, one of those heroes who's kind of considered a counter to the LD just because his feast deals so effectively with the bear.
Yeah, I mean, Lone Druid, do you think he's going to be able to come online and start applying pressure right away, or do Wings have to kind of delay this to the mid late game? Because Lone Druid scales up phenomenally well. I mean, this guy can carry well past 100 minutes if need be. But Wings' playstyle is usually get in, assert early dominance, and go from there. So is Lone Druid really the hero to do that? I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because Lone Druid typically, he can have some impact on the lane stage, tends to farm well, tends to be hard to zone out, but he really wants to have that Radiance online before he shows up to team fights. He's going to want to split push, but at the same time, Weaver is in a similar boat. He wants to get his Lincoln Sphere online before he starts to really commit to big team fights. He can go for one-on-one engages, 1 or 2 skirmishes, but he doesn't want to show up 5v5 until the Lincoln Sphere is online. So Wings, they've got this draft that kind of is open for TRG to potentially pressure them early. And to that end, they pick up a Night Stalker.
Yeah, I really do like this Night Stalker pick. I think if he gets a decent Aghanims, he makes the most of those night times. Night Stalker's vision game is going to be super on point, and the threat of a Batrider gank, the threat of Bane walking up and nightmaring you, is going to be null and void.
Yeah, exactly. And, I mean, the setup for the Lifestealer ganks as well with the Night Stalker, he's a great hero to combo with, because if you can jump on the Weaver out of Invis or something, you can get that silence to follow up Puck silence. It's a really nice way of dealing with elusive heroes like the Weaver. And not to mention the vision, once he gets that Ags, to deal with the Batrider ganks. Night Stalker wrecks Batrider. If he gets that vision up, Batrider has a really hard time finding his engagements. And the last ban Spirit Breaker from Wings.
Definitely something I expected there. I think they were actually looking at the Spirit Breaker to be that position 4 and then put Night Stalker in the off lane. And you need some sort of vessel to get Lifestealer into the fights. Puck is alright, Night Stalker's okay, but Spirit Breaker, Spirit Breaker Lifestealer, that's so classic. That's back to like 2012 strats.
That would be an interesting laning decision though. I guess you've got Puck for mid, Spirit Breaker, never mind. It would be completely sensical lanes. What am I talking about? Night Stalker will most likely be that support in combination with the Oracle.
Alright, so last pick here, it looks like TRG, they either need a support or an offlaner, depending on how they're going to run the Night Stalker. They could even go for a mid and throw the Puck in the offlane once again, but
it's an option, yeah.
It's getting fancy there, and I think TRG, they want to play this one a little bit safer. They have a much safer draft. They've got more cohesion, I think. I think the Oracle's a fantastic pick. Again, love the Night Stalker. Hopefully this last pick ties it all together and offers a little bit more damage, because Night Stalker, he's got great gank. Lifestealer can eventually be a great teamfight presence, but they do need some early game damage. I don't think Puck is enough.
Honestly, I think TRG here need to either pick up something as an insurance policy to man up against the Weaver, the Lone Druid in the late game, or they need to 100% all in on crushing lanes. And the Broodmother, well, there you go.
Okay, you
All
just
in.
called that one right out. Go and crush lanes. That is the pick. The Broodmother is going to be the offlaner. Lone Druid, a very natural Radiance builder. Batrider does have that Firefly, and Weaver able to go through with that Swarm with the Scoochie. So Broodmother Spiderlings are probably not going to be long for this world. Wings are going to have to make sure they always keep eyes on the Broodmother. They know where she's at. And that means that...
Okay.
You know what? Alright, that's a Wings draft, yep.
Okay, and that's a support pudge as well.
Or it could be a mid-pudge.
It's nice playing it though. And you've got Bane. I actually like this combo. The Bane Pudge roaming duo. You've got Nightmare to set up for the hook. It's a guaranteed hook every single time.
That is cheeky. Good God, Wings. You do it again. You pull out something that's not a drow strat, but still unbelievably interesting. Cannot wait to see how this goes down. Broodmother versus Pudge. It's a cage match to the finest. Predictions on how this goes, because honestly, this is just unreal.
I think a lot of it comes down to how much pressure TRG can exert early on. If the Brood gets off to a good start and can hold support heroes in her lane or kill them off and make space for the Lifestealer to get huge, the Puck to get big and get a lot of the mid lane, then I think they actually have a serious chance at winning this. Lone Druid and Weaver, obviously heroes that scale late very effectively, and they do have this game if it goes late enough, but TRG, they have that option, they have that window where Wings may be a little weak early on, and actually it's going to be an off-lane Weaver. Okay, so that makes sense. Yeah, it is going to be the safe lane farming.
It's possible they're just going to switch up their lanes here, because Faith Beyond Weaver is a very much a comfort hero for this player. So could just switch up the long and short lanes, could run 2-1-2 lanes. There's a lot of flexibility here in Wings' draft, and they don't have to stick with it the entire time. I think they need something to control up the Broodmother. Looks like there will be a ping. They know where the Broodmother's at. Broodmother has 4 sentry wards starting things out, making sure she's got the vision game, has those tangos ready to eat them up. So it's going to be very interesting to see when and if the Broodmother can keep up that counter vision, because Wings obviously love to exert early pressure. Oh man, this sentry ward gets like eerily close to that observer, but oh, they're gonna go through. They will find the observer ward, so great prediction there.
Yeah, and I'm really curious as to how Wings decide to lane this. Now that they know where the Brood's going to set up, it looks like for now they've got a lot of heroes down here, but as far as who they're going to lane, it looks like the choice will be Faith Beyond. He's sticking around here, and it is Shadow heading towards the off lane currently for that lone druid. So
Battle begins.
he'll be up against the Lifestealer, who has a great time.
Already
now
a dust. This could be in
1973.
some trouble. There
Oh.
is going to be the swarm coming out. 1 hit, 2 hit. The first blood goes through. Faith Beyond starting things off right with that Weaver going, taking out the Broodmother. That is already pretty spooky there, courtesy of an early dust pickup on Pudge. I don't think the Broodmother was expecting that whatsoever.
But they look like they are going to be running the Oracle down here. And Fortune's End, I may be making an idiot of myself here, but I do believe it purges dust, which
Yes.
makes the Brood's time a lot more easy.
It does, but at the same time, you're not giving Brood that solo XP. You're not giving her the window to go through and push, because you're not going to want to
not
push all the way
TL.
up to tower. Yeah, well, once again, there's a dust here. There's not much the Oracle can do. It's a second death on the Broodmother in the first 45 seconds of the game. What a tragedy so far for TRG, and this is Wings' playstyle. They go in, they use whatever resources necessary to exert the most early pressure possible, to get the best start possible, and 2-0 at a minute in, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and the Pudge proving his effectiveness, going for the level 1 rot, and the slow is very significant. Even at level 1, it's a 30% slow at all levels, so the Brood, once she's out of her nets, once they've got vision of her, she doesn't have the movement speed to deal with that, and Weaver has that extra burst damage from his Swarm to just make sure he can bring her down.
Alright, so we haven't talked a whole lot about this mid lane. It's going to be Puck versus Batrider, so we got Flappy Bird sitting here fighting it out. In terms of overall CS, Puck not doing so hot, Batrider getting a lot more out of the lane. How's that going to go moving forward? Do you expect the Puck to go for some early kills, for some early plays, or is it just kind of everyone sit back, play nice, get your levels, and then rotate as a team?
He can potentially try and make some solo plays onto Blink, but Batrider not the easiest hero to go for. He does have tools to deal with the napalm stacks at least, but it should be a Puck favored lane. I don't think he needs to be aggressive. He can just farm back, harass Blink, maybe even try and just use the orb to harass him back into the jungle, but just get the farm up, get that early Blink dagger. And yeah, the rotations with this team are going to be key here. He doesn't need to get the best timing in the world. He just needs to beat the Weaver timing and the Lone Druid timing. And
Oh, there's a
be ready
gank
to
up
go
top
for
here.
plays.
Shadow could be in some trouble. Pepper getting kind of low, getting munched on by the bear. Shadow may end up being a sacrifice. There's not much he can do. He eats a fairy fire. He's going to try to juke himself through the trees, but there is going to be the Oracle there to sandwich him in. And there's a Night Stalker going through. Finally, one Void seals the deal. There will be a kill on the Druid up top. So Wings had their first casualty of the game. Meanwhile, towards the mid, they're looking for something. Pudge now has that hook on cooldown. He did get the hook onto Puck earlier.
Well, 4 stacks up.
Oh, they're looking for
5.
something here, but the fire not going to connect. Meanwhile, Broodmother was killed off again from the Weaver. These sentries are super on point. Look at this lane, just dotted with vision, and it's not even including the dust that they've popped already to make sure the Weaver has, or the Broodmother rather, has the worst time ever. 4 sentry wards up concurrently in this lane, and 1973 is getting completely iced. And speaking of iced, mid lane, Puck goes down to a cute little hook from the Pudge. So it's looking good for Wings. Aside from that one kill in the top lane by the Lone Druid, who is actually getting a decent amount of farm, things are going very, very well
Oh,
now.
1973, not again, my friend. Oh, he does live, but a couple more clicks from Faith Beyond could have sealed the deal. And I mean, Broods tend to do poorly early on. You generally want to just be able to sit in the trees and get your levels until you get that soul ring out. You can start spamming the spawn spiderlings, but given how much he's given away to the Weaver already, it's gonna be a while before he's really a strength in this lane. And once he gets his spiderling army up, he does have some tools, but it's gonna be a slow start for him, and they are the ones on a timer. They have the weaker late game. They need this Brood to come online and come online relatively early.
Now she's pushed in very ambitiously. She has found her level 3, which is surprising considering the start she had. She's got those cute little spider babies going forward. She's going to be trying to keep up the vision as best as possible. Now there's nothing here on the Weaver to reveal, and the Bane has no vision as well, so there's going to be a brief window where Broodmother can find some impact. Now, Shadow up top, looking for some more farm, has to play it a little bit carefully, knows that there's a bunch of heroes missing. Okay, rotation in from Ice Eyes. He's not messing around, goes in. They've got the dust, they've got nothing to purge it off. Just trying to sit here in the trees, getting rotted down, getting hooked back in, and Bane with the Brain Sap will secure Broodmother's fourth death of the game. Up top, they do end up losing the Lone Druid once again. It does cost 3 heroes, but definitely worthwhile to keep that off/core hero at bay. And, you know, it's honestly a much better trade, losing Brood for the Druid. It's a much better trade for TRG if they can keep doing that, but the fact that the Brood has died 4 times in the first 4 minutes means it's going to be so hard for her to start exerting pressure on these towers.
Yeah, it's rough, but at the same time, CS are sort of favoring the Dire overall. They have 4 in the top 6. This Lone Druid is getting absolutely nothing. And the Brood has died a bunch, but she's still finding some CS. The 4 deaths, not ideal, but at least the rest of her team is doing okay. And Brood, once these heroes start leaving the lane to try and deal with other lanes, that's when the Brood can start exerting her pressures, can start farming up the jungle, has that chance to catch back up.
Alright, Ice looking for something here. Does have that dust. Is going to go through, rotting himself down to deal with these pesky spiders. So, you know, 1973, maybe there's some next level stuff we're missing here with those 4 deaths, just forcing out Bane and Pudge and Weaver to buy as much vision as possible and keeping them poor while Lifestealer continues to farm up. I mean, he has found himself a decent amount of farm here, 27 last hits. Compare that to the Weaver's 35, you know, not that far of a split. The difference is Faith Beyond has 2 hero kills as well, so that net worth really looking good for the Weaver, about 1,000 ahead of the Lifestealer right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, Pepper, he's been involved in 2 kills as well, but only got the assists. So a little bit poor, not to mention the CS difference as well. Hugh, though, he's been finding a lot in the mid lane. The Bat, getting a decent amount in the jungle now.
Looking for a kill. It's going to be bug on bug action. Innocence goes through with a defensive Nightmare to keep everyone alive, and there's going to be 1973 getting away. Currently no vision on the Broodmother. That can't do much. Meanwhile, Lone Druid could be in some trouble once again. That's going to be the 3rd kill on the Bear Boy. He's getting punished very heavily here, so while TRG are sacking their own offlane, they're definitely finding something in Wings' offlane.
Am I looking at a Lone Druid whose net worth is only 1,200 at the 6-minute mark? I think I am. He is nowhere near a Midas. He is going to be so slowed. His levels as well, only sitting at 4.5. So this is a pretty disastrous start. Probably as bad a start for a Lone Druid as I've seen in recent memory.
Yeah,
so,
I mean,
as badly as the Brood's getting shut down, the Lone Druid is one of your big late game cores on Wings. They need him to be really effective. And just Radiance is going to be slowed down a lot.
You look at where the damage is going to have to come from, and a huge portion of it will have to come from Lone Druid. That's where most of the push power comes from, because Faith Beyond goes for that early Dragon Lance, so not going to immediately rush into the Desolator. Now there is going to be a spawn Spiderlings. They will get the kill. Meanwhile, in the mid-jungle-ish area, Batrider does end up taking out the Oracle, so there's no Oracle to help purge off the Spider, keep her healthy, and there will be a full rotation here. Radiant, they definitely want this Broodmother. Can they get any vision of her? She is going to have her Spiderlings clip into the Sentry Vision for like a brief step, but right now they're not going to commit anything. Oh, these Sentry Wards tragically close to each other. They don't scout each other out.
Yeah, and that definitely favors Wings, as 1973 he's going to think he's safe. Well, not anymore. He knows there's vision. We'll try and get out the hook. Here it comes.
It's going on in, and they will be able to get the kill on the Spider, so it's killing spree, as it was actually the cute little buggy that secures the kill over there. So that's going to be 3-0-2 for the Weaver, so although Lone Druid is just completely getting decimated, at least Weaver's picking up something here. At least Weaver will have some decent items early on, will be able to contribute a little bit of damage while the Lone Druid makes something up, because you know, of all the of all the cores that are falling behind early, Lone Druid perhaps has the most comeback potential, or close to the most.
That's true. He can always fall back to the jungle. His team can make space for him, and the rest of them are fighting a lot. Batrider looking very good. Has the Blink Dagger online already at 8.5 minutes in, so he can start making plays. They do lose the top tier 1 tower though.
I mean, it's not the most crucial tower of the game, but this could be big. There is going to be the Dream Coil here on Innocence. He does have that defensive Nightmare if he needs it. May not get the chance to go for it. He's silenced up. He's going to be trying to live, but will not be successful. There will be a lasso here onto Was Lost. They're dragging up the Night Stalker here. Oracle trying to keep him healthy. Ice goes for the Dismember here, but there's just too many big targets. Pepper feel it A-okay. They bring in the Lone Druid. Gets a lucky Root proc onto the Lifestealer. They're going to go in with the Rot. Can they get the kill onto the Lifestealer? A couple more hits should do it. They're whipping away at him. Looks like they will be able to do so. That's a big kill. Trading away the Bane for the kill onto the core Lifestealer is certainly worthwhile. Now there's going to be a sentry fight here. Can Broodmother do anything here? We'll be able to pick off the Radiant Sentry, so it looks like there is going to be a little bit of damage coming out onto Faith Beyond. Spider's not able to go through with the follow as they lose vision on the Weaver, so these invis bugs juking it out, and for now 1973 has stopped giving away those free kills and is in fact putting a little bit of pressure into the lane. Dust comes out, though. Looking to trade. Faith Beyond very, very low. Bane saves the day. They will lose the Weaver. At least Weaver gets a bit of experience for that, but certainly not worth. You can't lose your core Weaver when there's so much net worth concentrated on him.
Yeah, the dominating spree going over the Brood. 1973 is going to be very happy with that. All of a sudden, he's got 1,100 gold, so can start on a Midas if he wants. Needs to get himself back into the game. And despite his 5 deaths, he's still ahead of the Lone Druid as far as net worth goes.
I mean, by a little bit. It's going to come down to tower pressure, and the Lone Druid is able to go through and dip into the jungle. Broodmother has a little bit of a tougher time here because she isn't able to max out the webs just yet. Going for the max spawn Spiderlings to get the most lane control possible. So if she finds herself an early tier 1 tower, great. If she sits here and farms this kind of creep-equilibrium point, fantastic. As long as she doesn't keep getting dusted up and dying, we're going to see how the Radiant respond to this. If they keep buying up the dust, if they keep rotating in the Pudge, awesome, but that does mean there's a fair amount of resources used. Now, okay, Fiend's Grip, they're all in. Night Stalker comes through, he's dragged out, looks like Was Lost will be sacrificed here. He's gonna go in for the Nightmare Bane, actually buying a little bit of time for himself. Batrider gets the kill onto Night Stalker, but Broodmother gets the kill onto the Bane for another 300 gold, so it looks like it could be a stalemate here. Puck going in, wants to go through, pops out a Veil. There will be a hook off the mark, so Ice not gonna get any juicy targets for all his struggles. Faith Beyond coming in, does have that time lapse to think of the south. They're gonna pop out the Swarm here. All in. There will be a Dream Coil under tower. Hook off the mark, so Ice once again not able to get any targets. Oh, both break the Dream Coil there. TL comes back on through. Oracle, only level 5, doesn't have the ulti just yet. This could be the end of the struggle, as this Sentry War has been vicious.
Yeah, and it is Wings winning it. A lot of TRG's money being spent on that protection for the Brood, and it's not really working, as he's now died 6 times in almost 12 minutes.
Yeah, but he's also getting these big kills here. It's not like he's 0 and 6. He's 2 and 6, and he took out Faith Beyond. He took out a killing spree, so you know it's all right there. Now Faith Beyond has that robe with the Magi here. Are we gonna see Diffusal on the Weaver? Like, what are we looking at? It is Diffusal.
Yeah, it is. Wow. So, okay, he's building in such a way that he's actually still very squishy. The Dragonlance with the Fortunate Aegean Strength helps him out a bit in that category, but he's still going to be quite vulnerable to the burst damage. The thing is, there aren't any solid stuns on TRG, and this is against a Weaver second pick. So they do have some slows for him. They do have a couple silences. If they can get those off, then they can burst him down very easily, but with that Diffusal Blade, Faith Beyond is going to be hitting really hard, and they may not have expected this. Normally with a Weaver, you do expect that Linken's First Rush. You expect him to be a little slow on the damage early on, but Faith Beyond is going to be hitting like a truck very, very quickly.
Alright, we've got a big smoke gank here. It's nighttime. Night Stalker's mean. He's got that value point up and Hunter in the night, and he wants to get some blood. But it looks like Wings, they're playing safe. They're going for a smoke gank of their own, rotating up here in this mid lane. No one's going to find each other, so everyone's just kind of sitting around waiting for someone to start the party, and there's no guests.
Yeah, they'll just transition into a tower, and in the meantime, TRC may do a similar thing in the mid once they see these heroes revealed. Although, Wings, they could look for the long loop around onto the mid lane.
Looks like they're going through the scan. Gonna be slightly premature, as it will not end up catching out any heroes. Just barely.
So close.
They like tip into there, but it's going to be no one revealed. So TRG, they are quite clueless. If you look at their map vision, I mean, they really can't see anything. They see no Radiant heroes. And finally, the Radiant scan will reveal that the Dire heroes are in their own jungle. So we are going to have Faith Beyond TPing out, wants nothing to do with this. Instead, TRG, they're looking for some push of their own. They bring in the Weaver, able to push the lane. They bring in the Lone Druid, who has found the Midas. So scraping together a little bit of farm. Going to be applying the push, forcing back the Dire. But the Dire may be content to go for a tower here. And when you've got tower trades, if the Broodmother's a part of it, if the Broodmother gets more space, I do think it will favor the Dire.
Radiant structures are fortified.
It's hard to say though, right? Because Wings, they do have the late game lineup, so they're the ones who need to be shut down. And the fact that they're finding this tower gold early, even though TRG are finding a decent amount as well, they're the ones who need to be ahead here, and they're not.
Well, it looks like Wings, they're not giving up the struggle just yet. They're going to rotate back into the Dire jungle, and Dire don't have a lot of defensive vision. I really like this offensive ward here on the cliff, making sure that they see if anyone goes back into farm, if they go back into rotate. So Lone Druid feels kind of safe coming back from this, and you know, the Midases are starting to come out. We've got Broodmother with that catch-up Midas as well. 800 more gold on the Spider. Do you think we see Treads or Diffusal or Orchid? Like, what's Broodmother looking to do? There's so much dynamic build in terms of Broodmothers.
Yeah, that's the thing with Brood. You know, it's really hard to say. She might want to try and aim for a more late game build. I mean, we've seen Bulldog, when he plays this hero, he goes hard into the right click, maybe picks up a Vlad's for some lifesteal, and then goes for, you know, the Butterfly, the MKB. He could also go for the more pick-off oriented build against a Weaver. An Orchid would be nice, but it does leave him fairly squishy.
Oh, there's going to be a blink in. They get the drag. There is going to be the Dream Coil, so Batrider can only do so much. There is the fire. Everyone's standing on in it. Broodmother is burning back. They don't want to break the Dream Coil. There's going to be a hook, but dodged out by the phase shift. The nighttime popped out. On the end, Oracle will end up getting slapped down. Batrider just spraying out too much damage. So they drop the Oracle. There's significant pressure onto this tower. It goes down to almost 0 health, and TRG end up getting what they came for. Now, overall kill score is still heavily in Wings' favor, almost being doubled up, but look at the net worth. Dead even.
Yeah. Which is actually pretty impressive from TRG. Despite the fact that they're behind this many kills, they have been able to continue to find a lot. TRG have been basically farming Was Lost all game. Nightstalker's been spending a lot of time in the jungle. He's also been involved in 4 of the 6 kills, and he's managed to find himself a point booster already, so going to be working on that early Ags. And once they've got that vision advantage, they can still take team fights for some time yet.
Absolutely. I think what TRG have to do for now is Broodmother's hell days are over. She's now getting a little bit of freedom here. Of course, I say that as there is going to be a Bane with a Dust and a Fiend's Grip. We'll see if it goes in. Yep, that's most likely going to be played. There's the immediate Nightmare, but the little Spider is going to be munching on him, going with the Brain Sap, making sure they go through. They do bring in the Dust, so Ice is able to get the Dismember, and that's going to be 4 heroes and a bear whipping apart the Spider. I mean, they have none of this. They do not want to deal with Broodmother's crap anymore.
That was a little aggressive of the Brood, going for that kill right next to the tier 2 tower. I mean, you gotta know Wings are gonna rotate for that.
Faith Beyond. I mean, we talked about where the damage is coming from Wings and how Lone Druid had a tough start, and is there going to be enough? But Faith Beyond, with the Dragonlance, with the Diffusal, just the raw stats from the Diffusal are doing enough. Had to pop a charge there, but in the end, certainly worthwhile. And now Weaver has 1,000 gold. Do you think we see a BKB? Do we see a Desolator? Do we see a Lincoln's? Again, a little bit of flexibility on this bug.
Yeah, since he's already gone for this early damage kind of build, he could go back for a more defensive item. The BKB would be really nice this game, not just for the tank of the strength, but also against...
Immediately 1973 will be punished. There is going to be that Void. So Batrider not doing a whole lot of damage, will be forced to back off. They've got the Bear sieging the tower. It will get poofed back. And there's going to be the Flame Break, getting everyone a little bit dodgy. And Bear comes back in. They really want to siege the tower. Lone Druid does get the kill. There's no deny. Now they do have Puck. It does have the Dream Coil. Can they get something here? There is going to be the Veil, but immediate Nightmare to follow up. Great playing by the Bane. Got those fast fingers. Was Lost is looking for something here. They've got the Life Stealer inside this Black Dragon as well. So it looks like Y leading them on a wild goose chase. And they do have Faith Beyond on the back lines, looking for a pick-off. Seeing if anyone gets slow. There will be that silence popping out from the Puck, but it looks like TRG, they're backing out with minimal loss, but no gains. Oh, Faith Beyond looking to punish Was Lost. They pop up the Swarm. Nightstalker pops into darkness. And there's going to be a Diffusal charge popped. Will the Weaver go too deep here? They go in, another Diffusal charge. There is going to be that silence coming out.
Oh,
they
nice
really
dodge.
want to get the bug, but Weaver going to be zip-zapping away. Not going to give away anything here. Giving the Nightstalker a fright, but not able to finish the job.
Okay. The Life Stealer is sitting inside a Black Dragon. and roaming around, not getting CS, not getting kills, trying to be annoying, but he is starting to fall behind. The lone druid, who had that incredibly rough start, is now only 200 gold behind him.
Yeah, I
And
mean, we talked about where the damage is coming from on the Radiant, but if you look at the Dire, you've got the Night Stalker who's able to do a fair amount. He gets the party started, but you need some sort of backline chip damage, and that usually comes from your Lifestealer, but he's only picked himself up Phase Armlet Echo at 18 minutes in when he had a pretty free lane, when he had a lone druid that completely flopped up against him.
yeah, it's a bit of a weak start for Pepper, and they really need him to be fat. He is their major mid-game team fighter. He needs to be able to do the damage, be that scary presence that Wings can't control, and so far we're not really seeing a sign that he can fill that role just yet. And, I mean, I have to say, I love this Weaver build.
Yeah, I mean, the Diffusal has been so valuable here. He can also level up to level 2 if he really wants to get those charges back. Just being able to take off the dust and then using it offensively for that purge, just for the slow, making sure that everyone has to sit there and take your damage. I mean, what does TRG do to respond to that? Do they have to rotate as 5? Do they have to rotate as 1s and split up and farm? What's the best counter to the fact that Weaver can now rip apart any single hero on TRG?
Well, Puck has a blink. They can go for Infest Bombs, and that's an easy kill on a decent number of these heroes. But they haven't really been going for that kind of play, and instead it will just be as Pepper just wastes a TP there all of a sudden, immediately cancels it.
Well, we're going for
1973 doesn't want to come to fights. He wants to split push this lane by himself, but Ice and Faith Beyond, they're sticking around down here. They really want to deny him the free space, and it's been good so far. A lot of teams against a Brood, they'll just back off, look for goals elsewhere. They leave the Brood too much space. He catches up, and now Faith Beyond. Sticks around a little bit too long. And there's that Infest Bomb that I was looking for. It's an easy kill. Weaver doesn't have a lot of HP.
And that's going to be a big chunk of pennies there for Broodmother. She's saving up a lot of money. I mean, I don't know if we see a Blink Brood. Are we going to see a Radiance?
It's possible.
It seems really late. There will be a drag here as the lasso comes out. They might be able to get the kill onto the Puck. Puck does have that phase shift if needed. He'll be trying to get the illusory orb out, but the hook back on in Oracle. Doing his best to spam heal up, but it looks like the Puck will still be falling. Too much damage coming out. On the backlands, Pudge does end up falling to the Oracle, so Oracle at least gets something out of this. Now Batrider, looking to go through, is going to be hasted up for a brief moment and will be able to back off. So it's going to be a 2-for-1 trade as really just a 1-for-1 trade. The Weaver was already dead. So in the end, that does end up favoring Wings just a little bit. Getting down the Puck is slightly more valuable than losing your support Pudge.
Yeah, and the Lifestealer being involved in those kills, he still has not got a single last hit on a kill yet. So he'll be a little salty about that. But he's finding his gold, still sitting behind the 3 cores of Wings, but he's able to be a little more effective with his gold, at least at this stage of the game, than those 3 are. So he'll be relatively pleased with his position, but they need to take fights. They need to keep the pressure up. And with the Radiance now up on the Lone Druid, 21 minutes in, that gets a lot harder.
Absolutely. Like, we talked about what a difficult start he had, but again, 21 minutes, he's managed to bring it back. It's not the most farm Lone Druid we've ever seen by far, but it's viable now. It's doing something, whereas before it was just kind of feeding now. We see how easily that Oracle just burns down. There is going to be that nighttime coming out, so Pepper, he is angry here. They will be able to get the kill onto Innocence, and looks like they're looking for the bear as well. Lone Druid, zip-zapping it around, goes for the Savage Roar. One more hit could be enough, but the heal, it ends up dropping down, so Oracle picks up a chunk of pennies for that. Now 700 gold on that support Oracle. What's his priority? Is it going for the Ether Lens?
That's hard to say. I feel like that's probably the choice. It would be really nice if you could build a mech, but I think that's just not on the cards. He's not getting enough gold for that, sitting last on net worth. So Aether Lens probably the safe play. As long as he gets off the false promise in the fights, well, as Q gonna be caught here. The damage from Faith Beyond, too much for him. And he's down. An easy pick. That hook from the Pudge working out. And Ice, he's been nailing these. 3-1 and 7 on him. He's been playing a really good Pudge game.
Yeah, it was so important for him to go through and get the hook combo immediately into the Dismember, because Puck, you could feel him trying to react so quickly, but he was just stuck in place. Now, there will be a drag here. I mean, they certainly got the Oracle pick. It was a lot committed to get that pick, but worthwhile, as Oracle won't be helping anyone out anytime soon.
And this is that Wings train starting to roll. Once these guys get going, they find pick after pick. It's so fast, it's so aggressive, it's really discombobulating, and teams have trouble reacting against it, especially maybe a little more inexperienced teams like TRG. And now Brood going to be caught out. Do they have the vision? They sure as hell do. Goodbye, 1937.
1937 here. We just aged Broodmother a little bit. Either way, we did see Broodmother go for that diffusal blade with that big stack of dollars she was saving up, and I just love the fact that diffusals are such a priority in this game. It's an item that kind of fell out of favor for a little bit. You know, it was picked up on Roaming Mirana, it was picked up sometimes on Offlane Void, but the fact that it's just such a big meta item is fantastic.
Well, and against the False Promise, it's amazing.
Yeah.
This game particularly. There's so much for your save, TRG, and also great for the slow for chasing down heroes. So all around a useful item, and now, oh, Q, not again!
There's nothing he can do. They end up popping out the Fiend's Grip to make sure he's locked in place. They can't give the puck even a moment of time to react, because he can go, he can phase shift, he can illusory orb and beat bop out of there. So they gotta make sure they get him, they lock him down for 100% of the time it takes to kill him.
Yeah, and the Pudge now with that Blink Dagger up. I mean, he, despite his support status, he has got all the items he needs to be effective. As a Pudge, this is your bread and butter. You can get on top of people with the Dismember. You don't need any more than that. Sure, some like bigger items would be nice, but as far as farm priority, you can't get much more value for money than this Pudge right now.
Take a look at the net worth distribution chart. You've got Lone Druid finally taking his rightful place on the throne at the top of the chart. It took him a while, but they found it now. Pepper is going to be scouted out with the Radiant Scan. Do they rotate for this, or do they just kind of take that information and use it to push elsewhere?
There is an Aghanim Scepter on the Night Stalker, so if TRG are going to get back into this, this is the item that gives them the advantage in the fights, the positioning edge, the vision edge to take those fights well. The problem is, at this point, it might be a little too late. They might be a little too far behind to really utilize that vision effectively. They're going to try for it. They spot out the bat.
Batrider has that gem, so that's a really valuable pick if they can get it. Night Stalker still saving up for his gem. That's probably going to be his next item here, but you know, it's a lot easier to get the gem for free if you kill the Batrider. Is that going to be a priority target for TRG now?
I mean, Bat's always going to be a priority target in these fights. He's just such a disruptor, such a nuisance, and he's relatively easy to bring down compared to some of these other heroes. But you can see Wings very methodical. They take out the vision around the Roche pit. They can go into that pit whenever they want now. They'll look to pressure out the bot lane first, make sure that they have full vision control of the area, and then they'll go. It looks like now's the time.
Yeah, I mean, they're grouping up. They just want to get this Roshan down quick, get it down easy, and, you know, there's a lot of spots here. Who do they give it to? Do they go for the Weaver, getting 2 lives? Do they go for the Lone Druid, making sure that Bear doesn't flop? There is the Pudge outside the pit, making space, but the nighttime coming out is too spooky. Wings smartly back out of the pit. They don't want to give this away. It could be a false back. Maybe they look to make sure that TRG go for the defense and then they pop out. We'll have to see what goes down here as Night Stalker. He's leading the charge. He's mean. 4 points up in Hunter in the Night, and that's what he's doing here. He's hunting. What prey will he find? It looks like the Lone Druid may be the first victim here. Again, he does have that Savage Roar on his bear. It will be a fantastic silence. Great Dream Coil. And looks like they will start things up by getting down the Bane. Ice is stuck in place. He's looking for something. He's walking around. He casts the dust with his final breath. Broodmother may end up falling here, but Oracle keeping him alive. It's going to be the Pudge falling down. Both supports are out from Wings. They're looking for something here as the Broodmother may end up slapping down. They will lose the Brood, but Lone Druid falls as well. They're looking for the drag here. They get Pepper stuck up in that last zone. Now Faith Beyond going in with the time lapse, looking for some more damage. They gotta get something here. Oracle has no ult. A couple hits should do it. They get the Oracle. They're looking for more, but Faith Beyond getting 4 staff down. Goes back in with the Scoochie. Dr. Pepper is gonna get popped. And now was lost. He's gonna be another sacrificial lamb here. 1 more hit should do it. 1 hit, 2 hits from the Batrider, and up top looks like Faith Beyond looking for something here. Goes in deep. They're looking for Q. There's going to be a phase shift, buying some time, but the Flame Break coming back out. Oh, not well timed enough. We're near the tier 4s.
He's down.
Looks like,
doesn't have mana for any more escapes. He's done.
It is going to be a full wipe. Wings, they drop their supports, they drop their Druid, but they keep the Weaver up and fighting and picks up a huge summon net worth. 3 kills in that fight for the Weaver. That's fantastic. 4,300 gold now for Faith Beyond. He could just right-click a BKB if he wants to. He can go for a full Lincoln's. What's the play here?
I think this game BKB is a little bit better than Lincoln's, but honestly, he may just go for damage. In fact, he goes for a heart. Okay. The Lifestealer is far enough behind that they do not have the damage to deal with this. The Magic Burst will not be enough, and with that heart, he can just Sakuchi away, regen up thanks to the heart's natural regen, and then just come back into the fight. And you saw it there. He was in and out, kept on re-engaging, finding kills, then backing out again. And TRG, they thought they could kill him. They tried to stick around, but they weren't able to do it. And he survives. He brings down multiple heroes despite the disastrous start for that team fight. TRG had a beautiful initiation. In fact, that Dream Coil silence combo from the Puck, that's the kind of initiation Pucks dream about at night. But unfortunately, the damage to follow it up just wasn't enough. And the Weaver with the in and out play, getting it done.
I think that was also just Wings keeping cool. They didn't panic there. They didn't split up. They kept a very clean list of who their targets were, what spells they're going to commit to get them, and, you know, just the fact that they were able to stay calm in such a hectic situation really shows how cohesive they are as a team. Now, there will be a hook. It does connect. Puck dead once again. No buyback. That is the 6th death for the Fairy Dragon, and that is Weaver's 10th kill.
As soon as you bait out the phase shift, you know where the orb's going. You've got the hook guaranteed, and then the dismember long enough to hold him in place for the rest of the team to just rip that little squishy Puck Dragon to shreds. A little bit too easy for Wings at this point, as they're going to move on to high ground 30 minutes in. This should be your first tier 3.
Yeah, I mean, Weaver is fresh out of defusal charges. He's been using that blade every single time it's available. But yeah, again, after this Fortify comes through, which is quite an early Fortify, I'm not quite sure they are really able to do much. It just kind of stalled out the inevitable. It wasn't like they were waiting for a defense. There will be a Night Stalker nighttime. Maybe they look for something here, but again, there's just too many targets. Faith Beyond will get stuck in place briefly from that purge, but doesn't even care. All Faith Beyond wants to do is lay into these racks, and they will be able to secure a full set melee and range going down as Weaver comes back on through. One more squirt of the little bug pellets. That's gonna be death. And now Was Lost may find a kill here onto the Batrider. He's flapping around, just kind of causing some distraction. Space created as everyone else on Wings is getting away unchased.
Yeah, and Pepper didn't even want to go on that. He's like, nope, I don't think this is a good idea. I just want to farm. And he has had such a slow progression. Now, 2 deaths on him. He has still not got the last hit on a single kill. He's been involved in 10 assists, but still, that's not even that much kill participation at 30 minutes in. Pepper has really had very little impact on this game in general. And as a lifestealer who's first picked, that can't happen.
Well, we're going to see if there's going to be a cute little jump here. You've got a Puck with Lifestealer inside, so if you get one of those silences with the Dream Coil to follow up and you have the Lifestealer damage, this could be really, really good. There is going to be a Pudge, though, looking for something. They pop out the Veil Innocence. It's going to be the first target there, but there is going to be Ice going through. His Dismember gets cancelled. He's stuck in place with the Dream Coil.
Oh, the turn around the feed script!
Oh no, Night Stalker is able to get the kill on the Bane. Now Dr. Pepper. Oh, he's dragged up. He's going to be going back on through, and it looks like there will be a burn. Puck ends up falling down. Or rather, barely living. Now he falls down. So it's going to be 3 dead for 1. You're happy to trade your support away for a kill on the mid, on the core, and one of the main supports. So Broodmother finding a little bit of space to apply some pressure, but spending a lot of time in the Ancient Pit, in the dire jungle, not really exerting pressure on this tower, not forcing Radiant to back. You think that's the best way to play this Broodmother?
Well, there's nothing else he can do. He can't move into these guys, and it almost feels like he's already checked out of the game. At this point, there's really not much a Brood with these items can do to contribute. And, I mean, top lane, the Infest Bomb comes out, they go onto the support Bane, and it still takes them a good 15-20 seconds to bring him down. Meanwhile, the rest of the team is being ripped to shreds by Wings lineup. It's just not worth committing that hard for a solo Bane, and it ends up costing you hugely. Another lane of racks goes down because these heroes don't have buyback, and this is more or less over.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the net worth, it was a slow and steady ride up for Wings. They couldn't quite find their traction for a while, but now skyrocketing to over 15,000 net worth in favor of Wings. The Lone Druid, he's found his stride. The Weaver as well, doing fantastically here. Hard to Tarrasque, and another 4,100 gold. I mean, this Weaver's saving for buyback, but it's just filthy rich. 3k on top of buyback. I'm going to be going for another full set of racks. Megas is probably going to be a GG. Now there's a force back here. They're looking for the kill onto Faith Beyond. Faith Beyond has the ult. He will get it off. Looking for some kills on the backline. They will get the drag onto Pepper. He's going to get saved up by the Oracle ult. And Faith Beyond is going to get stuck in place. There is going to be the Fiend Script here onto Pepper. Just, again, buying time. Looks like Pepper will pop. And that's going to be Lifestealer with no buyback, no more damage in these fights. They're going to kill off the Oracle. There's going to be a Yules onto the Broodmother, looking to start things off, or rather finish things off the way it started by killing off the Brood again and again. And this final lane of racks will force out the GG from TRG. So it looks like Wings will be able to go through with a 2-0 sweep, continuing their streak in the DPL.
Yeah, not really a huge surprise, all things considered. And it was just a bit of a disappointing game from TRG. You could see the potential there, but again, it did come down to that. I don't want to harp on it. I do think Lifestealers can be good, but this first pick Lifestealer, the immediate picks of the Weaver and the Bane, and you saw it there in that last fight. They engage on the Weaver. The Lifestealer can't bring him down. Then Bane controls him with the Fiend Script, and the hero's useless. I mean, probably of all these heroes in this game, despite the 4, 10, and 0 Brood, I think Lifestealer had the least impact on the game. And he ends it with 390 net worth, or gold per minute, I should say. That's support level farm. That's not acceptable for your one position Lifestealer, who you first picked and needed to carry the game. I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those games where Lifestealer never quite got off the ground. Well, either way, that's going to do it for this series. Again, Wings continuing. They are such a strong team right now. I mean, I don't even think you can pin it to TRG making, huge fumbly mistakes. It's just Wings capitalizing on every weakness in the draft, in the lanes, in the playstyle. So, fantastic playing all around. And Sindar, thank you so much for joining me for this series. Where can everyone find you?
Oh, it's always a pleasure, Annie. If you liked my casting at all, you can follow me on Twitter to know when I'm doing other stuff. You can find me at twitter.com/SindarGaming, and I hope you've all enjoyed the casts. I hope the outs haven't annoyed you too much, and thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy the next series.
All right, and I'm your Hypecaster Android, coming at you for one more series here. It's going to be Newbie Young versus FTDA. I will be joined by Mad King, so sit tight. More DPL action coming at you in just a couple of moments.